order. Maryville County Board of Commissioners, work session, April 22nd, 2025 at 4 p.m. Please silence your cell phone and any electronic devices. Any changes to the agenda?
No, sir.
Have a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? New business, discussion of county workforce planning, staffing needs, employee benefits, and departmental placement strategies.
Commissioners, we'd like to open up the work session. I thought Chief Stevens would be here. I just text him to see where he's at. Building A of Woodbury Highway, Building B's elections. Building A, Chief Stevens has brought up the idea and wanted to see what the commissioners thought was to move his administration to Building A, along with making a training center, because he's been using Building A as a training center. So the idea is to move his whole admin department under one roof instead of having him and Laura in one building, Alphonse in one, and Chief Grice in another one. And then possibly using the back building as a simulator for run-throughs on fire drills. He's looking at grants for a fire tower, but until we get that, he thinks the back building will be ideal to run simulations through because of the way it's laid out. It was just something he would like for the board to consider. Like I said, it's just a work session, just to throw out ideas out there to see. The other one would be Woodbury, not Woodbury, the recreation. We have met with the city of Greenville, the old, and you have to forgive me if I'm wrong, I think it's a middle school or high school by the Board of Education. That old football field, the high school, is now Greenville's property. They're looking to invest into that to bring recreation football to that field. But we've also been told by the school board, they will allow us to use Greenville High School if we have $1 million life insurance policy, which we do have and we can have. So with recreation, it's a matter of would the board like to keep it in Greenville, either the high school, or have Greenville invest their money into the old high school field and go forward on that one, because they're looking to make an investment in recreation on the city side, and they're willing to put money into that football field to bring football to Greenville. Don't know if they'll have enough time to get it done before this season, so maybe something that we do for next season, but I think they're working, getting quotes, trying to get through their council, everything approved, and we met with them, had a good meeting. It's suitable for the county needs. They have a concession stand. They just have to have a few more items for that facility to work. But in the meantime, like I said, the school board has agreed to let us use Greenville High.
The old one. Or the new
The current, the new one.
So is Greenville trying to plan to do their own city recreation?
No, it's countywide. They just would like to have football held at Greenville at their facility in the city. So it's, me and Alan, the recreation director, we looked at it, and it's perfect location. They have enough space. They have enough seating, concessions. They already have a building. They just need the football signage, basically redo the field a little bit, rework the field. They have, from my talks with them, budget $40,000 to $60,000 with SPOS. Their fiscal year ends June 30th, so they're looking to pour money into recreation for the county side if we would use the field. So that's no action I have taken. It's just something for the board to consider, and we'll bring it on the May agenda to see which one we want to try to utilize.
That's what we would invest into it.
Now, the Greenville would invest. County funds cannot be used in the city. Greenville is looking to do it all on their own to get that field up to
I
par.
thought you said we would get the field up to par and all that.
Greenville will get the field. They'll spend all the money on the field. They just want us to host the games, have the recreation games at their field. So that was, I think last year we weren't allowed to use the Greenville school system fields because they were doing major renovations to them. So we used Flint River last year.
Right. We signed an agreement with him.
I think it was only a 1-year agreement as well. So it's, before we didn't know the school board would allow us to use these fields this year, and Greenville has that money, and they were looking to invest into their facilities to bring Meriwether County, and they're all still wielding with Meriwether County. It's no city. Manchester still has their own inner city one because they are still registered with GRPA, but all the other cities are under Meriwether County Recreation. And we did mention at the last board meeting, we will like to get the Recreation Advisory Board back together. And it was a 9-member, now it's a 5-member board. And we have, like for everyone to nominate one from their district to serve on that board as advisory.
That'd be nice to have.
And Chief Stevens, late as usual, but I brought up the idea of building A in the back building so you can explain a little bit more what you want to do on that. A is for your admin and training and
Yeah,
how
so currently right now we occupy some space over the school, the high school with our logistics where all our supplies and stuff stay. And we also have I guess it's an MOU with the school board that we were using some of the property to do some of our basic fire classes and stuff like that. It started out, we had the old football field, we had the gym, and we were doing some training and stuff in the gym. But as it seems like every year as we go along, we get a little bit less and a little bit less. So we don't have the football field anymore. So we can't use that. But I was thinking about the back building over at that complex, and I think there's an additional 2 acres behind there. That's actually the county's just for future planning and development of maybe eventually having like a burn building or something back there. I think with that, being that basement 2-story on that building, put ladders on the side of it, we could climb ladders, raise ladders, all that stuff. Move our ventilation simulator over there, which is, simulating cutting holes in the roofs and stuff like that of fires, but, and then move all of our logistics as well. We've got 2.5 classrooms at the school that we keep nothing but turnout gear, EMS supplies, uniforms, whatever we need on a daily basis in the fire stations. That's where we keep all that. So, and it will get us all into one location, one building. So that's just kind of my ideas.
If that happens, where would they move from? How?
All right, I would move. Currently, I have myself, Chief Grice, and Laura, my administrative assistant. We're in the very end of the old Station 1. So there's 3 offices down there, and that's where we're at right now. We would move from there and probably occupy the space directly across from where the Board of Elections is now, and create a window right there so we can receive customers or so forth come in and kind of differentiate ourselves from the general public to somebody requesting a fire report or something. It'd be like a desk or something there so we can hand them that information. And then, of course, my office and Chief Grice's office. And then Alphonse would move out of the school and he would come over and we would move all those supplies and everything out from over there too and put all the shelving up so we can still maintain control of our inventory. Chief Garrett would still stay at Hillhaven, and run maintenance out of there because he occupies probably 80-85% of that building currently. It works, but it's not optimal, I guess. It'd be nice to have a nice front and a welcoming for the general public to come in and request certain information, things like that. But I mean, what we've got now is currently, we're working it, it's just in 2 or 3 different locations. Right. So.
This is just something for the board to consider option. We'll put on the May agenda for vote to see if the board.
Well, I think what we have to do, and it sounds like a great idea, but we have a lot of areas that need.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think what we have to do as a board and with the administration people is come up with a concrete plan of the most near future, what is going to happen. Because if we don't start getting some things renovated and people into areas that are conducive to the work for their area, we're going to run into some issues pretty soon. So I think instead of just, and it's nothing with you, Danny, at all. We've got to come up with a concrete plan and move forward with it.
Yeah.
And
we
with us,
can work on that.
Oh, I'm sorry, John.
We can work on putting that together for the board.
Yeah.
But with us too, you know, I mean, there wouldn't be any renovation.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got some resourceful guys. I mean, we put, you know, eventually we change out a light bulb here or there when it goes bad and make it better. Even at the school, you know, we had some cabinets and stuff in there and they said, yes, you can move those out. So we took those cabinets out. You know, we have people that can do, we can do all the painting, we can do all the, it wouldn't cost us anything as far as trying to renovate or do something of that nature. We can.
How would we get those big trucks and stuff back there? There's not much room on that side going through.
Yeah,
To
it's
the
wide
back
enough.
building. Is it enough? Okay.
It's wide enough to go around. I mean, back when the Turner Center, I guess is what it used to be called, you know, we go out there daily on somebody not acting right or not feeling good or something like that. So, and the thing is, between the two buildings, it has a big island, so it's easy to kind of just turn around. You don't have to back up and all that type of stuff, so.
Because I had that same concern, Commissioner Thurgood, about that back building not being utilized is just deteriorating. And this is.
It is.
One way we can keep it occupied and keep it.
Yeah, the last
Being
time
used.
though, it had some water damage the last time I walked down the stairwell. in it.
Yes.
So.
Me and
there's
Chief Stevens will
some
go out and look
structural
at it.
Issues there that we need to look at.
Me and Chief Stevens will plan to go look at them and see if anything's leaking. If it is, we'll report it back to the board.
Well, I think a whole county-wide department plan is what needs to be in place. We need to do, for lack of better words, a sweep through every department, every constitutional officer's office, and see exactly what is in that area, what it's gonna take to fix it, where we can move them to utilize it better, and that is a plan needs to come up so that we have something concrete and something to move forward to.
My staff will work on that and present it to the board. And the same thing with the recreation. We'll put something together and present it. Hopefully in,
Yeah, I like, back when you
Mayor
was talking
Jean.
about recreation, I like the idea of they're gonna provide a field and fix it up and everything, but we would still enter into some intergovernmental agreement to use it and so forth, protect us, you know, for something happens on their property, like
Yes.
somebody else, but they want us to be responsible for it because we were there playing, so I don't know exactly how that works.
it'd probably
We
be
have to
a,
carry the liability
Yeah.
insurance like we're doing for Flint River right now. We have to carry $1 million
Yeah, that's right.
liability on that.
we would
Flint
probably,
River's gonna still do something there, aren't they?
that's what they're trying to
It's a
figure
nice
out.
field and stands and everything too, so we don't wanna lose that opportunity by going here. You know, it'd be nice if we had two different fields, I guess, to play on, but I don't know if we need that many.
Yeah, that was a conversation I had with Alan as well too, is can we use both fields? And now since the school board,
The age group's difference, you know.
Yes.
We have, that way we can have more games on a Saturday or whichever day.
Or maybe have the older, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, and I was just gonna say, and to keep good relations with, I mean, they were there in a pinch when we needed somebody. They filled in, and I mean, I think that seems to work out great for.
And you could probably have your older group at Flint River, and the littler ones over here on this field, because of just this, the different type of field and the accommodations and so forth, so,
Yeah.
you know.
something we
That's just my
can, plan-wise, and that's where the recreation board will come in handy when we get that established again and.
When are we
bring
gonna
those
try to
ideas.
get that going?
I want to present it on the next meeting in May, because I was gonna bring it up at the next meeting, you know.
I mean,
go
should
ahead.
each one of us commissioners start asking around?
Yeah,
and think of
that's
someone in
why
our area we think would be a
Yes, sir.
asset to the board, and
Correct, and then we moved it to a 5, I believe Theron did that, so there would be a member from each district, and then we can have, I don't want to volunteer myself, but if I had to, I would.
We did the ordinance change last year where we took it from 9 to 5, and I'd have to get that set up. I mean, it's already in the board.
I remember us
appointments. We
doing
just
that, but
need- yeah. We just need to appoint.
Yeah.
I mean, the board would need to appoint.
Since we're going countywide recreation, all the cities are on board. I
And
think
I
it's
just put
time
them on
we,
the agenda under appointments.
yeah, I think it's time we reestablish that board. That way they can advise back to the Board of Commissioners what the community wants, and from each district, that person would know what your district would need and what they foresee, sports-wise. What trend is growing now, if it's pickleball, basketball, football, you know, what are the kids into? It's gonna vary. So I think having that board back established will help the countywide recreation department grow on that end. So we'll,
That's another good reason to keep two different locations on board for, because if Greenville does this and then decides they wanna turn it into pickleball next year, and we've lost a football field, or, I mean, Flint River's gonna keep playing football because it's still an active school playing football. But say that other field, they decide to put in pickleball or something different, then we're out of the field again. So it's another good reason to keep a couple places.
It's good to look at because the baseball, softball, I think was almost 200, a little over 200 children this year. So that's way up from last year. I think last year they had just shy of 100.
Thank you, Danny. We're not gonna
Yes,
make you
sir.
stand up.
I forgot you're still back there. The next topic we have on there is just employee benefits. We did this last year, but we never acted on. We acted on a few and we implemented a few. And HR Director Valerie Chambers is here to go with this. The hourly and salary employees are now on the pay scale that was approved by the Board of Commissioners for salary and hourly employees. So all employees are now put on the pay scale with a 3% step in between. So that has been implemented countywide, all salary, all hourly employees. So we have marked that off. We still need to come up with a list of what constitutes a step increase, because it's going to change based off of job type. Admin is going to be different than fire. Fire is going to be different than sheriff. So we still have to come up with that list of what constitutes a merit increase and bring it back to the board for approval on that part.
Annual reviews, quarterly reviews.
Yeah, that's part of
I
it.
mean, it's got to be one of the largest parts of any merit increases performance.
It is, it's probably gonna be a 2 review process to constitute a merit increase. But you gotta go beyond scope of works, because if we do the annual merit based off of the review, to get a step increase, you gotta go beyond and get some certifications behind you on that part.
You do, but if you can't perform your job, you don't deserve to get that
Correct.
credit.
And that's
So it
another
has to be
thing,
one of the largest parts of it.
and that's the other thing to bring up, and it's not on this one, I haven't brought it to Valley. The board has done 2.5% merits for several years now, from my understanding. When budget time comes up, I'm gonna propose we go to 3%, either 3% or nothing. That keeps us on that 3% step scale, so we have one continuous scale and not 7 different variations running out there with 2.5 in between each
Are
one.
you saying you propose that every person gets 3% if they qualify?
If they qualify.
Or just 3% into the department's budget, and then that department head can divvy that out based on performance? Because a lot of times what happens is you have a 3% across the board, that department gets 3% increase. But they may have 30 people in that department, 15 may be here, 10 may be here, and 5 may be here. So if there's room for improvement on that 5, then they may get a 1.5% increase. These may get a 2% increase, but these performing here may get that full 3%. So that 3% total goes across the board, but that department head gets to divvy that total amount up into percentage increases for each person based on their.
Correct. That's how we did a 2.5%, but I would propose on a 3, it'd be a 3 or nothing, and if it was nothing, you reevaluate them in 3 months or 6 months to get them that 3%. So if they're at that 1.5, evaluate them again in 3 months and see if they can qualify for, if you're at that 1.5 level, we need to reevaluate you in 6 or 7 months to get the 3%. It will not be if you got a 3% merit increase, you will not get a 3% step increase in the same period. So that's a 6%, and we're trying to avoid that. It's the ones who go beyond and get the certifications, gets a 3% increase. And if the work justifies it in certain areas, take public works, you get motor grader certified. We're looking at in-house patching. You get certification for that. That warrants a merit increase because you're gaining more experience doing the patching, which we need, or the in-house paving. Then you should be eligible for a 3% merit if your job, if you're up to par, because 6 months leading to that point, you may be a 3% employee, so you should get 3% merit. But if you just started, no, you don't get a 3%
And you have to be
merit.
careful with some of those certifications too. Not everybody is capable and qualified, even though everybody can get
Correct.
that. So if you have 30 people in a department and every one of those 30 people get that certification, but you only have 5 pieces of equipment to do it, what are we really doing here? We got to look at it and keep it within that scope.
And John, about the public works, with that one, we would
Right.
advertise it in-house, have the public works director say, okay, if you're interested in becoming a in-house paver, patching crew, fill out an application in-house and let the public works director interview you and see what your qualifications are. If you want to get certified, you get certified. You'll have some individuals who want to go beyond. You'll have some individuals who are comfortable where they're at. So we'll advertise in-house, and I got to get the public works director to do that, that when an operator 1 leaves or operator 2 leaves, it needs to be posted in-house to see any of your laborers want to move up to operator 1 or operator 2 and interview them internally to give your in-house personnel a chance to grow first before you hire outside. The 3% would just keep everybody on one pay scale instead of us having to modify it every year. And with the budget year coming up, the 2.5 merit, I'm going to figure in the 0.5% to bring them to the pay scale again. That way we're consistent with the 3% pay scale that was approved by the board. So we'll bring it up during budget and see what the numbers look like during that time. But just want to let the board know everybody has been put on a pay scale.
Didn't we just do all this last year?
Yeah.
The employees, but as salary employees were done after the first of the year. They were put on there as of February 24th. Because I wanted to wait till the merit raises came out and then put the salary employees on there. Otherwise, it would have gave a big increase to our management team. So we did the merit increase first, and then there was a slight adjustment. And I think it was maybe 50 or 60 bucks that they got in a back pay. And I just instituted that to the department heads and supervisors. And they will see on the back pay, 50 or 60 bucks going back 3 weeks of February 24th start date of putting managers on the pay scale. So everybody's on there, and that was a very minimum cost, maybe $2,500 at the most. Changes to our benefit offerings, we'll go more in depth in that night at the meeting. We do have NFP to present insurance renewal. It's that time of year again. They need a decision by May 5th, the next meeting. So it's not really an action item night if the board wishes to vote tonight, they can, but it's May 5th to
Say
right there.
decision tomorrow, that's usually how they work.
Yep. But they really came a week ahead of time this time, or 2 weeks ahead of time this year, so they came a little earlier. They have some things we have went over and discussed that I'll let them present to the board. Valerie, if you want to speak on any of the additional things that would not be in the presentation tonight. I think it's going to be your basic life.
Okay, last year the board approved increasing the life insurance from $35,000 to $50,000, so we had that in place this past year. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not used to. Okay, we were considering an increase to $75,000, moving it from $50,000 to $75,000 across the board for all employees. The cost was really not reasonable. It was going to be an additional $25,000 just to increase that for all of our employees. So that was a lot of money to pay, and we fortunately haven't even had any claims that we've had to file for it. So I didn't think that was a fair amount at all, fair cost. Then we looked at the possibility of increasing the life insurance for just the management team, because we want to do all the things that we can to encourage the managers to stay, to enhance their benefit package. It's very challenging to fill a lot of the management positions. So that's one reason we were looking at it. So we're considering the possibility of increasing just the management team life insurance to $75,000. We're also looking at the short and long-term disability. Currently, both of those benefits are paid by the employees. Last year, we did ask for the board to consider paying the long-term disability for all employees, but we didn't get approval for that last year.
Can I stop you and ask you a question?
Of course.
With the statement of moving the management team to $75,000, what would be the cost of that?
$1,879 per year. Okay, on the short and long-term disability, if we just paid the long-term disability for the management group, again, to enhance their benefits and to make us in a more favorable market for keeping and retaining our managers, it would be $1,795 per year. So for less than $4,000, you could do those two things for the managers. it's just a consideration, just something that we're considering, and of course, it would be pending your approval, and this is just tossing it out there as an idea, and you'd have a chance to vote on it. Okay, we brought this up once before as well. We currently have 11 paid holidays. We are considering the addition of 2 more holidays. One would be Good Friday and the other would be Veterans Day. If we do that, we'll have 13 obviously instead of 11. And the state of Georgia currently has 13 holidays. Now, they divvy theirs out a little differently. They celebrate them on different days than we do for some of them. But they have a total of 13. So I think it'd be a very good marketing tool for the county if we could say, we offer 13 paid holidays, just as the state of Georgia offers 13 paid holidays.
Instead of comparing it to the state, what are the other counties? Do they have those 13? Do they do Good Friday and Veterans Day?
Veterans Day,
Compete
Commissioner
with
King, I
Friday.
think they do.
What's that?
Veterans Day, I believe they do.
Some do Good Friday,
some do.
don't.
Yeah.
I'm asking, have y'all looked, does Coweta, does Fayette, do all of them have those holidays?
We have to double check that and see, but good, I would imagine Veterans Day is a paid holiday. And that would be something that I would be bringing back to the board in May to at least consider Veterans Day. We do have veterans that work for the county, and if most of the counties around us take Veterans Day, then I think it's something I would like to bring to the board for consideration.
I respect all veterans and I would be fine with that. I'm just asking, instead of
We-
comparing,
we
the
can-
state has so many days, we're not the state, we don't have the budget the state has.
Yes.
So I would want to compare us to surrounding counties to where if we're trying to hire somebody, you know, they go, well, Coweta or Fayettte's offering 13, y'all only offer 10, you know, so now I can see why we need to be competitive and more heartfelt, but I'm just,
Yes, sir, Commissioner King, we can figure it out. We
Yeah.
can reach out to the surrounding county, because that's what we're trying to prevent is any employee, manager or employee leaving to go to a neighboring county for an additional day off or additional life insurance or just little perks we're trying to maintain and keep our employees here. Yes, we cannot compete with Coweta, Pike, Troop because of the budget, but little things like this for a small minimum cost, I would never leave a job for probably less than $25,000, but you do have people leave for $5,000 to $10,000. They don't leave because of the money, they leave because of management. I think now with fully staffed management team, we're headed in the right direction.
oh, we are.
Because you can see it on the agenda's not growing as it was in the previous years, it's getting lighter and lighter. So the departments are running like they're supposed to. The county is running like it is supposed to run now. I don't think the commissioner is getting as many phone calls as they're getting previously. That means our dirt roads, our roads are being taken care of. If my phone's not ringing from the commissioners, that means the citizens aren't calling you. So the department heads are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I'm monitoring our department heads to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. To keep our citizens happy so they see their tax dollars at work.
I think I'll see that, maybe Fayette County gets Good Friday, but the city of Fayetteville doesn't. It's gonna be different so much across the.
Yeah, I've seen it like that where county gets one, city gets the other, and vice versa. But we can reach out and see it and get to the board a recommendation
I'm good
based
with
off
both
what
of
we
it,
find.
as long as we can afford it, and if this board's in favor, I'll support the whole board. I just, when you're sitting there going, the state does this, state does that, I just don't want us trying to do what we do based on what the state does. We need to do what
Correct.
we do based on surrounding counties and what we can do. That's all.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
just gonna say.
And when I present it, it'll be, y'all have all the statistical data with the
If somebody's
counties.
trying to decide whether to come here or go to the state, they go on the state anyhow, the state's
Yeah.
gonna pay them more than we pay.
What are the other 11 days that we do get?
10.
It says right now we have 11 paid holidays.
I thought you wanted to add 2 to get 13.
We're at 11.
With Martin Luther King.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
No, you got President's Day is first.
No, Martin
No, no, Martin King.
President's Day.
The New Year's Day is first.
Day, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Thanksgiving the day after, 4th of July,
June 19th,
Juneteenth, Labor Day, Memorial Day.
and 4th of July.
Did you say Martin Luther
July.
King?
Coweta, Fayette, and Pike are all presidents.
True. Like,
Is that a?
I
11
figured
cents?
that, I just,
I believe so. I was just looking at Coweta counties and they only have 11 days, but they have Good Friday and Veterans Day. But they don't do like Juneteenth and there's, Martin Luther King Day they don't have.
Yeah.
Coweta County is what it's showing on there.
Juneteenth is one I've seen has just been newly recognized, and most cities and counties are adopting it here soon because it's a federal
I
holiday.
guess they just haven't gotten it yet, but I was just looking up, that's what I'm curious.
I think it was 2021 when it came across.
I think so. President Day is one that typically most counties and cities do not
They
celebrate.
had presidents, so that's why when I was counting theirs out, I was like, oh, and they have 11, but they have those two, so I was trying to figure out what we added in differently.
Yeah, it could be a day after Thanksgiving, and
It was Juneteenth and, Martin Luther, it doesn't show them having Martin Luther King Day for some reason. Which is kind of odd.
That is
Yeah, I'd
odd.
be surprised they didn't have that one.
yeah.
Because they always have a big parade.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought, but it's not showing on their site that they have that.
I think sometimes also compared to the state, but some resources are not necessarily available for other offices.
Not big.
When the state's closed, like court services and tax, some of that stuff, some of that.
Department of Revenue closed for every holiday there is, so that we have no access to state if we need.
Kind of like the bank.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's just,
I
Right.
banks are usually closed those.
For all those days.
banks are always closed.
Yes.
But we'll bring it to the board for consideration with all the backup documentation for it. The next one, we'd like to also bring back to the board, and we mentioned it last year, and I've done some research on this one along with HR and payroll and finance. Offer a vacation buyout or buyback program. If you have an employees hit a threshold of, first, we're at 240 hours is our max vacation, 720 sick. Sick is fine. The 240, when I bring it to the board for consideration, I would like to move it to 280. We have people, managers who are at 240 that have to take a day off or they lose it. And we have, I think they ran the numbers as five at 240. And a lot of them are, 220 or so. In a couple months, they'll be at the 240. So then they're forced to take a day or they lose it. And then we do a vacation buyback. If you're at a threshold and we put it at 160 and you can sell back at 40 hours, there's 41 employees that meet that threshold at 160. Now, how much above that, they didn't give me the full numbers of how many people could cash in up to 40 hours of PTO. Because if they leave and quit or if they get terminated, we pay out whatever's on their balance to begin with. We already had it accounted for as a liability. I would just need a budget for it and run a rough estimate. I mean, if you do 40 hours at $20 an hour, which is a high number, you're looking at $37,000, $38,000 in buyback of vacation.
Listen, I think it's a great idea, but I also think that vacation or PTO is in place for a reason. People get burned out, and sometimes people don't realize that they are burned out on a
Yes.
job. That is one of the largest turnovers in any workplace, whether it's government or whether it's a private sector. We can't force employees to take PTO, but PTO is in place for a reason, and that is to give those individuals a break. And I do worry that maybe we have these 40 individuals that aren't taking the time and they have maxed out. Are we at a risk of losing them at some point? Because a lot of times people don't realize they need those breaks and they're in there for a reason. We need to encourage them to take the time off so that it refreshes them.
Yes.
And it really does help. And I think that would be the first priority for me, is to make sure that our people are being taken care of and taking the time off in which they deserve. Because a lot of times, again, we don't realize that we're on burnout until we burn out.
And we only have, like I said, 5 that are capped at 240. So if we raised it to 280, 240 is a 6-week period.
I agree with what he's saying, but you're saying like if they don't take their vacation all year and they want to just get the money.
Yes.
And the other side of that, to what he said, was you got some folks, even though they can have vacation time coming to them, they don't have the other part of the money to go on vacation.
Right.
So they work, they got goals, they're trying to pay bills, they're trying to, because I've seen, unfortunately, I've worked for years myself, but before that, they'd go, you need to take a vacation. No, I can't, I got bills to pay. I just, even though I could stay home,
Yes.
but if I stayed home, I'm gonna spend money, so I had to go to work. So, there's a side of that, I don't know these people individually, but there might be somebody that's struggling, they're trying to pay the child support, they got a kid in college, and they're going, I just assume you give me my 2 weeks paid vacation and let me keep working too, because that's like a bonus then. So, but he is right, folks get burned out, but you can't make them.
But you're
Yeah.
right too. You're right too.
Is
Yeah,
that-
I was looking at that side, it's just,
I've actually had an employee ask me, could I authorize 80 hours of buyback because our air conditioning went out? I'm like, we don't have it in our books. We don't have it in our policy manual to do that. So,
some of them don't want to sit at home. In
yeah,
other words, if you give them 2 weeks vacation, but they don't have the money to go to Panama City and pay for a hotel, by the time it's over with, they've used all that money, plus what little bit they had saved, now the week they had to take it. So
Yeah.
I agree, if they don't want to take it, it's sad that they can't afford to take it and do it, but at the same time, they may have a personal reason why they're not.
and this would just be like I said, it's additional benefit to our employees if we offered it, just in case they're in a financial burden, they can cash in 40 hours of PTO and still have 160, which is 4 weeks they can use, because if they need the extra money for whatever reason, if they leave, we have to pay it out instead of paying it all in one lump sum.
It's their money. I don't have a problem with it.
It's just a benefit to them, and I can budget accordingly based off of the cap that we say you had to hit 160 banked hours before you can cash in up to 40. And we can budget for that amount based off the employees.
I'm okay with that.
I'll bring it back to the board for consideration. It's just another perk that, like I said, we can't compete with other counties, but we can offer things that other counties cannot. And I think this would be one huge benefit for our employees if they can. Just like both commissioners stated, people do get burned out. They need vacation. I can tell you, I'm one of them. I will work and work and work and not take time off. But I got time scheduled in June because my family's making me take it. Otherwise, I would be here working, because every job I left, I've never had a day off. I went from one job to the next, because if I don't work, I don't get paid. So I see both sides of an employee's perspective on that part.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree with Gene 100% on what he said.
So I'll bring it back to the board for consideration in next meeting.
Y'all write that down.
My eyes just
We
went crazy.
got to record a Commissioner Threadgill.
I'm checking the roof over here, like.
Well,
We'll do that later.
I'll take pictures.
the other option, another one we have thought about for our employees to help them out in that situation, a well goes out, AC goes out, is to take out loans from their retirement plan. We offer the 457B, which is fully funded by the employee, and we have the 401A, which is funded by the commissioners, or by the county.
By removing from those retirement plans, does it affect the lump sum that's in there for all employees though?
We would structure almost like a 401K buyback where you would pay yourself back.
Okay. Yeah, because a lot of times when you have a big group and it's in that lump sum, it affects it as you
Yes.
pull it out, the entire.
We actually have a call with
Empower.
with Jim Fowler with Empower to discuss these scenarios, because there's been a retirement change that you got a memo from HR about them taking the mutual funds away. He's trying to figure out what's going on because none of his other clients had mutual funds taken away. He's even made a suggestion that we may look at going to a different provider than Empower, and we'll bring it back to the board for consideration. That's their recommendation. Yeah, and he said it looks like they're focused on the big dollar accounts. The smaller ones, they're just putting them into a smaller. I mean, if you look at your Empower now, you're in a general account that's gaining 1.5% interest. If you was in a retirement fund, you were getting 13, 12, 10%. You're getting 1.5% now. So he's looking at what happened. They said they sent a memo out. He never received it. Me and Allison never received it. So we don't know what's going
I
on.
didn't receive it. None of us received it that have a connection with Empower.
I noticed it when I signed off on an employee termination or new hire, and I told HR, call them because these funds are no longer available. See what's going on. They said it was an internal decision. They did away with them. So, and then is it Jimmy? Jim said he had never seen that before without being notified. So he's got some suspicions of his own that he's investigating. And we got a call with him in a week or so, I believe. I think it may be this week. If we did the 401A, we would just have to say the employee would have to be 100% invested. If you borrow from the 401A, you pay yourself back. They charge a little small interest amount for you taking out a loan, and we would put in there you can only borrow half of what's in there. So you can't borrow all of your money. You can only borrow half of what's put in the accounts. It's just something for the commissioners to consider when we bring it back, if we want to do both or just the 457B that the employee contributes to. But if you're 100% invested and leave, you can take the 401A with you as well. So it helps people out in their circumstances where they may need a new well a new car, just something that you don't know what life's going to unfold on you. And again, another thing that we can offer our employees that other cities and counties cannot, they can't try to keep them here.
And they're paying themselves back with interest.
With interest.
So,
So I like the best part, it's a good longevity.
Yes, because you got to be 5 years.
Use that mark and then you start pouring.
Is it 5 years valid for employees?
Yes.
So 5 years for employees, department heads are invested day one at 100%. So it's things we're looking at that, have very small monetary amounts to it or benefits to the employees. I think our turnover rate now has dropped significantly since we put the pay scale in place. We want to keep it that way. I think leadership training that we did helped out our management team. People work for good managers, they stay for good management. They don't leave, they leave because of poor management. They don't leave because they don't like the job. So if you got a good boss in there running it, they're gonna stick around. That's how I've always felt about it. And then you can ask my staff, I'm hardly in the office, I'm out and about every office in this county just about. I haven't made it over to fire yet, but I'm working that way. But most of the employees can tell you they've seen my face in the buildings in the county and they knew who I am because I speak to them and go down and see them. So I do have that interaction with the employees.
And they're still here.
And I was gonna add, he mentioned turnover. We ran a report just to see how many people had voluntarily left during the first quarter of this year, because we're definitely having fewer terminations. I can tell we're processing a lot less than usual, but we've had 7 voluntarily leave as of today, through today. And last year, for the same time period, we had 13 leave at this point. So it's improved. I mean, I can't prove that it's because of the pay scale, but I would like to think that that's helping to retain a lot of the hourly
How many open positions do we have?
The majority, Commissioner Greta, is in fire and EMS. I think Public Works has 1. Admin may have 1.
Rough total across the board.
How many do you have, Danny? Rough total, probably no more than 25.
Okay.
About rough total 20 to 25 open
Yeah, I'd
positions.
have to check with the sheriff's office. Sometimes they have a good many, but
I think 25 is a
I
good
think
comfortable
they're
number.
reaching stability too.
Because Public Works is, I think, finally fully staffed again. So it's,
Yeah, we just need 1 maintenance tech and we're staffed in Public Works.
and then we're working something out with the budget.
Public safety is kind of strange, though, you work in the EMS field, but it's just, you see those employees come back around. Like right now, I've had 2 or 3 applicants that were here previously that are, reapplying, so it's kind of, grass is always greener on the other side kind of situation a lot of times. And then they'll go out and, no, I don't think I want to come back, So, but we went from 14 to, I think we're at 30 or 32 now, full time, so,
Good deal.
I mean, it's getting better.
And we are going to look at something in the budget year. I mean, Chief Stevens had this discussion. Fire is currently at 106 and get overtime. We want to look at what the budget impact will be if we put them at 80 hours and get overtime. That way, if, depending on the significant impact on the budget, someone making $13, $14 an hour, that's around another neighboring county at 106-hour overtime before they hit it, can come here and make overtime at 80 hours at the same rate, it's a benefit to that employee. So that's how we can see what the budget impact would be to get the fire fully staffed. It's just one of the options we can run and see what the budget impact would be. So we wanted to do it last year, but we came up with it at the very last minute, and trying to run all those calculations would have took a couple of months, but we are looking at that for the upcoming budget. The other thing, service awards, I let Valerie discuss that one because she came up with this one.
Okay, we're currently giving out the nice certificates that are signed by our chairman each year. But I would like to propose that we consider some type of service award bonus, just a token of appreciation in the way of money along with a certificate. And I mean, any amount would be fine to consider. I just threw out some numbers, like maybe 5 years, $50, 10 years, $100. 15 years, $150, 20 years, $200, 25 or more years, $250. And then if you wanted to make it a little more appealing to the employee, 5 years, $150, 10 years, $200, 15 years, $250, 20 years, $300, 25 or more years, $500. So that'd be our 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. We've had people in those areas each year that I've been here, over 25. It's just a thought. I think it'd be a way to show our appreciation, and these are people we have retained that have been here for these long periods of time. So I just like the board to consider it. It can be discussed more and voted on, but I think it would be a nice thing to do for the employees.
You just multiply the years times 20.
You know, we'll come up, something like that, bring back to the board for consideration, like, again, just things that reward our employees for continuous service here at Meriwether County. If you look at it, you probably only have a handful of people who are at the 10 or 15-year mark. Because usually 5 years is basically what everybody gets, and then they're out the door. Because they just want that 5-year experience. We've done employee incentives for new hires. We send birthday, sympathy, get well cards, support departmental appreciation. You know, it's 911 operator week, animal control week. HR will be looking at that to see what appreciation weeks are coming out. Just giving recognition to those departments, something that has never been done in the past. Me and Allison went down to 911 and animal control, and they were very appreciated that someone acknowledged that it was their week. It's amazing how just a small token of bringing some donuts down there and, you know, showing that there's actually, hey, we acknowledge you, we appreciate everything that you do. So that's a big morale booster for the employees at 911 and animal control. And I want to get out there more as appreciation weeks come up to whatever department there is that's being celebrated for that week. Anything else on the employee members out there?
No,
I don't want to go into insurance because NFP is going to present that tonight.
I mean, I'd just like to thank you for listening to the things we're considering. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that and scheduling the work session.
Well, I agree, you know, years ago, you had a lot of people getting service awards for 20 years and 30 years, but it's not near as many now. To me, it seems like I don't know, I remember my granddaddy got one 40 years at the mill or something.
They're different than we are.
Oh, yeah.
Kids nowadays are different than we are.
Yeah, we probably look different than he was too, huh?
Yeah.
But it's the little things that go a long way with employees. I mean, just like I said, going to 911 and just telling them, hey, I appreciate everything you've done. Just going out there and just calling them out by names. They're like you got them right. You got everybody's names down here. I'm like, took me a minute, but I can get them all. I mean,
Didn't we used to give those awards at Thanksgiving? or
Thanksgiving.
something? Yeah, okay.
we did it. We did it last year and the year before.
While we're talking about building stuff, somebody called me wanting to know what we're gonna do with the, election building. I said, I don't know yet.
That's something we have to decide on. Like Commissioner Thurgill stated, we need to come up with a overall plan of every department, every building in the county.
They didn't know if we was gonna put it up for sale or whatever.
What would be the best interest, how we would strategically move departments. We'll work on that plan internally and then present it to the board.
I know the IDA said something about wanting to go there at one time, but, and then their budget, you'll see, they get a budget for remodeling and all that, and they don't never have to do that because they're here. So if they went in there, they would be responsible to spend the money on it, wouldn't they? So we wouldn't, okay, so we can focus more on our own.
Yes, that was one discussion, and Ms. Jane did ask for the key so she can just look at the building, see what kind of, how layout would need it to be. And I told her again, you know, the Board of Commissioners decide who goes where, so it's not set in stone. Don't get your hopes up on it. We still need to come together with a strategic plan on where we move them, how we move them. You know, how do we get these buildings renovated? How do we pay for them to get renovated?
Worth anything other than that.
I mean, I think it would be good for the IDA, just my opinion, that they would have a, you know, town front, that they're in the center, so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And if, like Gene said, if they renovate it,
let them renovate it. Still be our building, but they renovate it, you know? It's a win-win.
I'm gonna have to go home. I'm agreeing with Gene too much tonight. I said I'm gonna have to go home. I'm agreeing with you too much tonight. I'm messing with you, Gene.
That's all good, but all good.
That's pretty much it, isn't
I think so. I don't think Danny had anything. I know on the public works side, it was mentioned at the last work session, Brian is getting together proposals for in-house
it?
paving, hot patch. We currently have a $240 contract with Piedmont
Per ton.
per ton. Brian believes he can, if he gets the hot box, he can get it for $80 a ton and do it all in-house. He's supposed to give me a quote up on the hot boxes, so he can keep the asphalt hot. He'll present all that. He knows way more about that than I do. I'm talking just road stuff
And
that.
that is a savings, but at the same time, you gotta have the people to do it. You can't all of a sudden go, we're gonna do it all ourselves, and now everything else is going downhill because they're asphalting every day, and now we ain't got the roads cut, we ain't got the ditches, we ain't got the motor graders, because everybody's asphalting. That's
That's what we're
you
gonna,
start losing over here.
We are.
That little bit of savings doesn't balance out.
and I've told him we need to actually come up with a plan. 36 positions, I think is what he's budgeted for, 34, 36. Dedicate a crew to
That.
just paving, patching, paving, find out who wants to be on that crew, because not everybody wants to mess with asphalt, hot asphalt at that. Me, for one, I don't want to be around 180 degree or whatever temperature asphalt it is. I'll be happy doing something else, driving a machinery with an air conditioning in
Sign me
it.
up for that during the winter, summertime now.
So,
Sign me up for that part during the winter,
Yeah,
summertime
stay
now.
warm.
and he'll probably request a few more positions in public works. I think we can withstand our budget for probably 4 to 5 additional employees, get them up to 40. We're talking 500 square miles of county to cover, so that's a lot for 35, 36 employees. And he has hired a few new employees now that have paving background, patching background. They actually found out on the patcher has a heating mode to it. The new guys that he just hired found a heat mode on it where it can be sprayed at ambient temperature, but it really needs to be heated. So they're trying to find that sweet spot to make that patcher run efficient until we can.
So the people who
Run
trained us on
patching.
the machine didn't tell us there was a heat button.
Apparently no one knew about it until these guys came down and they saw that there was a heat function on there.
Our training.
It may be because we weren't planning on using it that way.
I think so, because BAM is meant to be sprayed at ambient temperature. So it's just another way of making it firm up a little bit more quicker.
And the other problem you got too is, just like we pay contractors, other companies to haul the gravel in, you gotta have the dump trucks that
Yes.
are insulated and ready to haul asphalt and haul it to us, cause we ain't gonna have we're gonna have enough CDL drivers and dump trucks to go haul asphalt too. I think it'd be great if we can save county taxpayers money. But you're talking a lot of employees and everything that has to work together, going to get the asphalt, coming back with it, spread it and so forth, to where unless he can hire enough people to run it.
I told him, present me
Ain't
with
gonna
a plan on everything within the next 2 weeks, just so we can run the numbers and see what it would cost.
Definitely need to look at it.
Just to see if it'd be beneficial to the county. I know he does have a demo for a machine that can widen the roads, and I think Judson Bullock is one that we're looking at, the widening the entrance due to the narrowness of it. He can do the entrance, or he can go all the way to the first stop sign. He's working up a cost analysis on what it's gonna cost us to do that. But while we have that machine for demo for a day or two, that machine to dig it out, make that road a little wider so the school buses can turn on to Judson Bullock. And there may be 1 or 2 other roads in the county that he can hit while we have that machine demoed, not costing us anything to use it. And then he's supposed to be getting a price, because a lot of roads in the county are narrow, they need to be widened. So he's getting a price on that piece of machinery as well. So they are also working on a surplus list at Public Works and a grade on all their vehicles. We do have a fleet of vehicles that do need to be replaced. And I think the last discussion we had was if the sheriff needed new vehicles, we would take over the sheriff trucks and get them new vehicles and just retire our old vehicles here. because they do put more mileage on anything in the county because they're covering the whole entire county. So I need to get with Chief Hadley and see how many vehicles does he have ready that can be put out of service and moved down to the county, and what that impact will be to the county if we bought a Durango. The last Durango was $44,000, outfitted I think it was $12,000, so about $56,000 for a pursuit vehicle where you can buy a brand new truck for, I think the last one we spent $60,000 on a F-350, and they're only going up. So there's a lot of moving parts coming forward when we start getting into the budget, capital improvements. We'll start that mid-May. We are working on the 2025 SPLOS. 2020 SPLOS ends on December 31st. I've been meeting with 5 of the cities now. I have 3 more to meet with because Pine Mountain has that little sliver. And I think we have them all scheduled except for Lone Oak because they were closed today. So I am meeting with all of them to try to get their project list so we can bring that back to the board, have our joint meeting, finalize that and get that to the elections to be put on the ballot for November. So a lot of things going on, a lot of things moving in. This will be mentioned at the regular meeting, but I do have the courthouse assessment. It was delivered to me on Saturday morning. So I do have it. I've breezed through it. I will have a copy for all the board members, hopefully by Thursday, no later than Friday, or no later than Monday. He told me Thursday he should have the book together. Just give you a heads up, it's 125, 130 pages front and back, so it'll give you a full depth assessment of the courthouse.
33,
Yep, there you go.
to be exact.
The work we had done over on Magnolia Road that blew out from that big rain and everything, did we do it or did we contract that out?
We contracted.
Magnolia Road.
We contracted that?
Yes.
That might be the answer. I had a gentleman call on the way here and he said, Commissioner, I come by there a while ago and there's 7 trucks and 10 men and 3 weed eating. I said, are they county employees? Well, I don't know what they'd be doing. I said, did you see Mayor with the county on the truck? Because he said, I don't know if I saw that or not. I said, I'll try to find out something. But
We'll find out.
he
but I
said
know
he
that
stopped and
That was contracted.
rolled the window down. They were kind of rude. He asked me what's going on, how y'all doing, all that stuff. And I just thought you might want to know they were. I said, you counted them. He said, yeah, there's 7 trucks and 10 employees out there with their vest on and weed eaters. And he goes, I hope we're not sending that big of a crew out to weed eat something. I said, I hope we aren't either.
Oh, well, yeah, I'll double check on that, but I knew it was contracted out for the culvert.
But I told him that. I said, if they contracted out, it might be whoever did the job finishing up their.
Yes, because we haven't
to get
paid that
final
out.
payment. I
Yeah.
said, that's how that works. So unless you can tell me it's a county truck, I don't think it was.
Now, we haven't issued final payment on that one, or LL Revel, Trammell has
Who did
started.
that work, remember?
Southeast side,
Site
right?
development.
Yeah, okay, that's probably who was out there. They just
More like, because I
made
think they
it look good
have,
for final inspection.
yeah, so they can get paid. Trammell Road has started. I believe it was last week I had Mr. Palmer Rogers reach out to me, tell me it's been 2.5 years, so he greatly appreciates Piedmont getting out there and getting started on that bridge. He's excited to see that open back up. And then once Trammell Road is done, he'll be moving over to Tigner Road to repair that culvert over that way.
Sounds like a plan.
So we got a lot of things
Everything going.
moving. I mean, it's running like it's supposed to. There's no hiccups, no delays at the moment. I'm knock on wood because I don't want my phone ringing off the hook tomorrow. But for the most part, the county's been running pretty smoothly, like it
I'm
should
sure the
be.
rest of the commissioners will have to agree. My phone's slowed way down from first year I was here to going on my 3rd year now.
People don't have my number yet.
Huh?
People don't have my
Yes.
number
Yes,
yet.
they do.
That's 706
I
97.
didn't know how to get it. I mean, I've seen the difference, like you're saying, used to it just every time I turn around, I'm like, oh, God. Now it's just very seldom a question about something or take a look at something.
That's good to hear, Commissioner King, because that means the department heads are doing what they're supposed to do, that we've hired the right people to do the job they're supposed to do, and they're doing their job. So to me, that means a lot. It says we interviewed them, we picked the right person to do that job, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, we're leading them, we're guiding them, we're showing what needs to be done, and they're passing on to their employees. So it's good to hear that, and I'll pass it on to the department heads in every aspect that, the job's not going unnoticed. that citizens are seeing it, the commissioners are seeing it. Just give praise to the employees for it. They're doing an excellent job. Like I said, it starts at the top and works its way down, and I don't want to kick stuff down the road and wait 5 years. I mean, the courthouse has been 5, 6 years, and we finally got an assessment,
Or longer.
or longer. Finally got the assessment done. Next steps will be working towards the RFP, getting it out for bid, and hopefully starting
They were
work on
dealing
that.
with courthouse before we came on board, and then we're dealing with it for the last 3 years, or 2.5 years, so it's time that something's done.
Hopefully we'll get the RFP out and they'll start seeing work on it before the end of the year. And hopefully we don't know what the time frame will be till we get the RFP out, but
I'm sure.
we are moving in the right direction. Yeah, I think it's a 3 or 4 phase project that was identified by the engineers just because of the scope of work, and it's top to bottom.
But we
So-
definitely have to come up with a strategy on
Yes.
moving and renovating and putting back in what we're gonna do with the buildings. Gotta come up with that, or we're just gonna be chasing our tail for the next 10 years.
We'll work on getting that developed. Danny, you got anything else? Matt, anything on the IT side?
Do we have a need for executive session?
We will, but we need legal present.
Can we not call them in?
He's probably traveling on the way here.
Could we do executive? Well, yeah, you're right. Because if we can do that now, then we wouldn't have to do it the next one.
It's going to be a short one. It won't be a long executive session.
He's doing it on a cell phone, he can listen while he's driving.
That's all we
We're
have
off
for
record on it.
Vice Chairman Collins. Unless the commissioners have anything, we can call this meeting work session to adjourn.
If not, we can adjourn this one. I'll go to pick my shotgun if I just want.
Oh, my.
I make a motion we adjourn this meeting.
So,
I
second,
made a motion.
second.
All in favor?